And welcome back, students. You got the Pokemon Professor bringing you week 1 of the KCDL. This week we take on the homie Nugglo, somebody I've never played before. So really excited to play somebody new. It's always fun to get some fresh battles going. But Nugglo, sorry, I got carried away. Nugglo has a real threatening team. He's got Dialga, Flutter Mane, Landorus, Ogerpon Wellspring, Arcanine Hisuian, Hitmontop, Quillfish, Lilligant, and Snorlax. Looking at his team, honestly, I expect the first 6. I think Dialga is going to come. Could be Scarf, could be something like Shuckleberry, trying to live an EQ from Drill, and then trying to pick up a KO with like an Earth Power or a Body Press. I think you have to bring booster speed on the Flutter Mane because that is your only way to immediately outspeed a Terra Excadrill in Sand. Landorus, I don't think you're Scarf. I think you're Life Orb. And the reason I don't think you're Scarfed is because you don't want to lock yourself into something like the Earth Power. With my team having so many Levitate users, right? Things like that. I just don't think it's the bring this week. Wellsprings, I do think comes. It pressures a lot of my team offensively, including my big defensive piece, which is Alomomola. So being able to pressure it with the grass type is going to be something. I think Terra Arcanine comes. Truth be told, I think Boots. It is a Terra Captain, and honestly, I think Terra Rock or Terra Fire is going to be the worst. Probably Terra Rock is the scariest. I could see it being Scarfed Terra Rock with like Reckless Head Smash. I could see Terra Normal trying to get the E-Speed, just craziness going on late game. Could see the Terra Fire because Zamazenta can switch into the Terra Rock. And I guess saying that, I could see Heavy Duty Boots on that thing as well because Zamazenta is such a switch in depending on what move you want to lock yourself into. So if Heavy Duty Boots kind of gives you that longevity so you aren't just kind of SOL for setup with a Zamazenta Crown, and then Hitmontop. I think you're going to be Technician with like the Axle, the Sucker, the Mach, and then I don't even know what else. Maybe Aerial Ace, maybe something else wild. Terra Lilligant, I don't really see it coming this week. It could be a bring, and Quillfish could be a bring, but I think you go with the Reckless and then the Hitmontop being Technician because I do have the Ogerpon, and if you bring 3 Intimidate users with me having Defiant Ogerpon, God bless you. That would be beautiful, right? So I'm going to try to hope that you do. I am bringing Shrek this week. That's the first one on the team. Now, even outside of the Intimidate, because I don't think you bring it, I do like Ogerpon this week. I love its speed tier. Being able to outrun everything outside of the Flutter Mane, Ivy Cudgel is really spammable, right? Landorus doesn't necessarily want to take it. Hitmontop doesn't want to take it. You know, Intimidate's going to work against you. Ogerpon Wellsprings doesn't want to take it. And so I was kind of in a toss-up. Do I go with the Cudgel or do I go with the Hornleech? I knew I wanted U-turn on there for momentum in case I can bring this in on something like an Arcanine that's, you know, I've proved to be faster, and he is an offensive Terra Rock or Fire or something, or not Fire, but Rock rather. I've got the low kick for Dialga, and then I've got the SD, because if I can get this thing set up +1, or excuse me, +2, Ivy Cudgel just kind of claims. And the low kick is the only thing for Dialga, but it claims at +2. Okay, Flutter Mane isn't super bulky in itself. So I'm hoping I can play Shrek right and hopefully break / possibly clean late game if you let your Flutter Mane kind of get some chip damage or I get a surprise KO on it. I'm running the Kebia Berry because you do have the Sludge Bomb or the Sludge Wave with Landorus. That's kind of it. You could bring the Quillfish, I guess, for the Gunk Shot and expect to live the +1 Ivy Cudgel because you're some kind of bulky Rocky Helmet set or something like that. And then just live the Gunk Shot, but I don't really see Quillfish coming this week. Boots was another option, but truth be told, I felt that Kebia Berry because if you are Scarf on Landorus, that'd be a bummer to die to, and I would prefer not to die, you know, prefer not to die. Or maybe that lets me set up the free SD as you go for the Sludge Wave. So next one I'm bringing this week is going to be No Face. Okay, very bulky. Sorry, I don't know if I said the EV spreads on Shrek. max speed, max attack, 4 in defense, basically forcing the speed tie against Ogerpon, outspeeding as much as I can. I don't think if you bring Ogerpon this week, truth be told, I don't think that you're running max because I think you want to try to use it with a little bit of bulk to maybe take something like just the stab moves from Excadrill. So I think that you run a little bit of bulk, and I think you give up your speed more than your attack because Ivy Cudgels and Horn Leeches and Wood Hammers are still relatively free to click. So that's why I'm going max speed. I'm going to play the game. No Face, on the other hand, I'm running max HP, max defense, 8 in my special attack with a relaxed nature. Okay, Pain Split, Shadow Sneak, Will-O-Wisp, and D-Pulse. Gracious Orb, Shadow Sneak off a base 120 attack. I'm clicking it for Flutter Mane, right? I'm clicking it for Flutter Mane. I don't think you're Terra Fairy on the Arcanine Hisuian. Kudos to you if you are, but then I just revenge you with something like Excadrill. I think you're Terra Normal, right? You don't want to take my Dragon Pulse. You don't want to come in and then be forced to Terra as I just click Dragon Pulse against you anyway. The Shadow Sneak is just so free, and after rocks it has a chance to KO Flutter Mane, which I expect you to be booster speed because you can outspeed Excadrill insane that way. I think it could pick up a surprise KO on something like the Ogerpon. Dialga is something that if you're AV, you can switch into the Dragon Pulse fairly well. And I was tempted to run something like the Aura Sphere or something like that. But the damage that I lost with Dragon Pulse on every other Mon just wasn't quite worth it for just the Aura Sphere. Because Dragon Pulse, I click it once, I could assume or think that you're going into Flutter Mane, right? Especially on the next turn. I pick up a KO on something like Hitmontop with the D-Pulse because I can live the Technician boosted Triple Axle. You go hard Flutter Mane, and then if I can click that Shadow Sneak once and pick up that KO, that may be the difference in the game, and that may just be game right there. I have Pain Split and Will-O-Wisp because, again, if I could get a burn off on something like the Hitmontop because you think you can kick me out with the Triple Axle, it's a weird way to word that, or the Ogerpon, if I can burn that Ogerpon, it doesn't matter if you have played rough, play rough. I just Pain Split up and kind of keep clicking Dragon Pulse. So, Vodka is my third bring this week, running the Citrus Berry, Levitate, U-Turn, Psychic Noise, Knockoff, and Healing Wish. Max defense bold, a little bit of my HP with a little bit of speed. The speed is there to outrun Adamant Hitmontop, so I can get a big Psychic Noise off. Could be AV, but kind of expecting heavy duty boots. So with my Citrus Berry, I know I can live something like the Triple Axle, which I expect you to click against the majority of stuff. So the damage that I get on Hitmontop, honestly, may be the difference in something else being able to just come in and set up and win. Healing Wish, because I have stuff like the No Face, because I am bringing the Excadrill this week, I think Healing Wish is going to be huge. Allow me to be a little reckless because, truth be told, I'm not that good. I'm actually bad. And I don't know why I keep investing money into this fucking kids game just to get my ass kicked, but I do. And Healing Wish is the trump card in case old habits have a hard way of dying off. I am also bringing it because we have to declare our Terra types before the match, and I figure, obviously some matches I may just bring one, but being able to bring Mesprit this week and be Terra Poison, it kind of plays into a mind game, whether or not I'm going to Terra this or I'm going to Terra the Excadrill. And I honestly don't know which one. I think it truly depends on where I'm at in the game, and I think I'm okay with my opponent Terraing first. I think Arcanine Hisuian is the obvious Terra Captain, and depending on what you want to do and what Terra type you are, do I need to go Terra Ghost into the Excadrill because I already fucked up and let Giratina die, and I need a Ghost type, so I can't just get bopped late game by the Choice Band Terra Normal E-Speed, even though I resist, right? Maybe I've got the chip damage. And then the Terra Poison, maybe, the Flutter Mane, right? The Landorus. I can survive a lot of hits from Landorus being Terra Poison and you having nothing to hit me. I don't expect you to run the Psychic with me having some of my other moves or my other Mons. So we'll see. We'll see. But fourth Mon, Underminer, running the Clear Amulet, Sand Rush, EQ, Ironhead, X-Scissor, and Bulldoze. Okay, Jolly Nature, 112 speed. Running enough speed to outrun a +1 Ogerpon. I do think that you are running the booster speed Flutter Mane. It just is a must in my opinion, because if not, Excadrill, if it gets up in SD, just kind of wins. And I feel like that's the bring. So I went with the next speed tier that made sense for me. +1 Ogerpon outruns any Scarfers that he could bring with Sand. So EQ, Ironhead, X-Scissor is there specifically for the Ogerpon Wellspring. I am running the Clear Amulet because, I said I'm bringing the Ogerpon to try to take advantage. But I don't want Intimidate drops. Maybe you are that guy. Maybe you do bring the triple Intimidate. Life Orb is pretty nice, but I felt like risk versus reward. I picture this to be a fairly offensive game, and I felt that the offensive benefit that I got from Clear Amulet outweighed any kind of like oddity. AV, right? You've got the Focus Blast and you've got the Earth Power from Landorus. You also have physical attacks that could hit it, so you could be physical Landorus this week. Crunch, the Earthquake, the whatever, the knockoffs, blah blah blah. So there's a difference between that. Do I try to throw Rendo Berry on for whatever, the Pasho Berry on for the Wellsprings, the Aurasphere, or the Earth Power, or the Body Press from Dialga? I just felt that overall it was the bring. Life Orb may be it, and only time will tell. We'll see if I goofed off. But Kaiju number 8 is going to be the next one. Talking about drill, I need sand, and Kaiju number 8 is going to bring that for me. I'm running max HP, or 248 rather, 8 in my special attack, and then 252 Spadeft Sassy Nature. Not only because I'm sassy, but I didn't want to lose any of my attack EVs because I'm running Rocks, Ice Beam, Knockoff, and Earth Power. Earth Power really hits a lot of stuff. Okay, I do picture something like the Hitmontop thing, and he can switch into me. With my Chople Berry, I can actually live the CC from Hitmontop, even if you're adamant. So getting you at -1 and getting my damage off, or getting my rocks up as you get -1 from the CC, can allow me to take advantage of that with one of my later mons and set up. So really liking that. Knockoff is just going to be really nice. Maybe I get rid of a Scarf on Dialga. Scarf Dialga is a threat, right? You could very easily just click Scarf Dragon Pulse or Scarf Draco and try to come in and claim one pretty routinely. I don't have a natural fairy type, right? So you gotta watch out for dragons. And yeah, I like Kaiju number 8. I like having a Spadef Mon. I wanted to run AV because of the Flutter Mane, but I didn't want to put Rocks on Vodka because I like the momentum. I think it's going to be able to switch into other stuff, and then there wasn't a move that I felt like I could get rid of, and Rocks are going to be really important to kind of get that chip damage on the Flutter Mane, right? Be able to allow that Shadow Sneak to pick up the KO. It'll allow Excadrill to just click moves pretty freely. And final mon is going to be my John Wick. Body Press, Heavy Slam, Rest, and Sleep Talk. That's all I need. That's all I need. I didn't even talk about Snorlax and my opponent having the ability to bring it. But you don't bring it with a Zamazenta Crown and a possible Alamomola with Flip Turn and a Mesprit with U-Turn and all these other mons that can just full on take advantage of it. Body Press. I come in, I get my +1 in my defense. Nothing wants to take it. Flutter Mane is the only thing. I'm running max Spadef and then 96 in my HP. I can live a Specs Moonblast after Rocks. And that's if you're Specs, right? I expect you to not be Specs. I expect you to be booster speed. So just a max special attack timid Moonblast. I chew. I pick up the KO with Heavy Slam. If that's what it is at +1, I can still go for the rest. And then I've still got the +1. +1 Body Press is bopping him on top. Looking at it, like originally I played around with some stuff. I wanted the Ice Fangs for the Landorus. I wanted the Psychic Fangs for the Hitmontop, the Quillfish, just in case. But Rest and Sleep Talk, it allows me to click buttons. And that's ultimately my plan with John Wick. John Wick is here to fucking get revenge for his dog. And he's going to do it through me, the Pokemon Professor. And I say that because I will see you guys in the match. Peace.